Welcome back, Youngzers, episode 41. Great number. I don't know. No association with that number, but we got a nice slate going for you today. Steelers draft analysis from the three experts here. Bucko baseball, a couple new little items sprinkled in from Dan himself, so he'll have a couple surprises for you.
I will.
But got a nice loaded show today. I think we got baseball talk, football talk, and then is that it, or am I missing something?
I'm gonna take this episode as an opportunity to defend myself in the fantasy football league. We'll touch on that later. Some people aren't happy with it, and I'd say, Dan, if you and Ryan agree, it's probably the vocal minority. I told them, I said, if you have any issues, hop on the pod and discuss. And they declined, so we're gonna air it out this week.
I'm going to say this individual is a serial complainer. It's not, you can't please everybody, but this is one of those people you just can't please at all. So, I'm not surprised from the circumstances, but, we got to tighten up the ship a little bit, get the rules set in stone, or lack thereof, that there should or should not be. But maybe a little punishment update on what's going on, because I haven't heard anything about that in a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I got to find somebody who, I need a good photographer. I have to do the calendar. I was told solo, which is fine. I understand why. So things happen. I will take one for the team this year. I'm a man of my word. I just got to find a photographer. So anybody out there who is looking to,
camera,
you got one lined up?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Then
I have a camera. I could do it funny. Like we could do like a,
that's
like
however,
B-grade one.
However, I'd like for it to get a little nicer out. What?
That'd be like a month cameo.
You can, yeah. I don't care. I just want it to be a little nicer out, so I want to be outside, and we'll do it out then. Probably around June. I think probably get some picks done. Just need 12 of them. No more, no less.
Can I pick the theme?
Sure.
Okay, so let me run this by you. I'm milkman, you're the cow. And we have like gallons of Turner milk or something. Like clash it together.
You might have me sold there.
Full gallons, but maybe like two glasses like clashing it.
I like it. You might have me sold.
And that was also, a point that was made last night too, Dan. Apologies for having to back out of the shoot. Obviously,
it happens.
Something out of my control. Hopefully something big down the line. But that person also said, "Oh, no one's sticking to their agreements and whatever." It was an agreement between Dan and I. Yeah. So really, you were on board with it. I told you, if that's all right, I was going to do it regardless. But yeah, we'll settle all of this here soon. Because remember, we do need a 10th member for the league.
Yes, we do have an open slot. So anybody out there is listening, and just don't pull a Rio. Honestly,
should we do an application? Have people send in what's it called? Like cover resumes, like fantasy football resume.
Yeah. Let's do cover letters. They can email us.
No, I want a fantasy football resume just to see, like like people type it out line by line, like history, like what leagues you're in, like maybe accolades, like good draft picks, maybe some bust draft picks. Hey, you have like a Youngzers interview process. I don't know. That could be a little fun segment.
Yeah, we'd have to send them down on the pod.
Yeah.
Have like the crowd vote. I don't know. Trial by fire.
Excuse me.
Rio can apply for reinstatement if he so desires, but he probably will be denied. He can apply as much as he wants. I'll tell him that.
He's going to need majority vote, and he's not even going to get mine. So
he's getting the Pete Rose treatment. You're banned.
Well, no, because Pete deserves to be in the Hall. Mario doesn't deserve to be in this fantasy league.
No, you're right.
You have like a Hall of Fame at the end of every year where we induct like someone or like maybe something, like induct like Turner's tea, like a bottle of it in the Hall of Fame.
I like it.
All right, so do we want to get right into it? Or do you guys anything else?
What do you guys want to get into first?
Draft day, baby.
NFL draft. So
the pick is in.
Let's go first. How does everybody feel about the draft? Do we want to give a quick grade? Like, A to F? A to F grade? All right. Who wants to go first? A to F grade.
A minus.
Yeah.
A, Dan?
Yeah, I was gonna say B plus to A minus. Yeah, right in that range. I'll get into why.
That's what I'd say too. I'd say that A to B range. I'd say B closer to how they'd pan out. I don't know. We'd have to see how they play, but I think going from how they did in free agency, which was very well, to now, I think they addressed a lot of team needs. And I'll probably say this once, I'll say it again. They didn't really get that sexy pick that everyone's looking for. That big name, or that big position player that everyone wants to see. The new flashy toy. But I think what we wanted, at least the three of us.
Yes.
We got what we wanted. We got some meat on the bones. We got a little beefier, a little stockier. The trenches, we're gonna have some nice guys in the trenches now. So it's exciting to see.
I immediately thought of that whenever I saw the picks coming in. A franchise, ideally left tackle. Joey Porter Jr., obviously not a guy in the trenches, but physical corner that his skill set's very rare. I think the interceptions weren't quite there, but that's okay. I like the picks they had in the trenches, and I honestly coined it. I was like, this is a Dan Couch draft.
Mhm.
It's just a meat and taters kind of draft where, like Ryan said, it's not the sexy picks, but it's what gets the job done at the end of the year, and that's what good teams do when they draft.
And I think we've had so many years where we're so used to getting that flashy toy, that new skill position. Your Najee's, your guys like that in the first couple rounds, receivers, all that jazz. And thinking back, it was David DeCastro is the last offensive lineman they took in the first round, and I've stated that before, and I think that's where they got hurt because that line just got old. Was it the best line in the NFL for 3-4 years altogether collectively? Yeah, but what is it, the 200 or the 250 rule or whatever? Once your offensive lineman age adds up to 200 or 250 years, it's an old line. So, and then injuries don't help. But yeah, it was a very, I guess, need heavy draft. It really was. But then the free agents they brought in also helped to where they didn't have to they didn't have one need that needed, picked right away. It was the best available need that you needed at that time in the first round and in the second round, that first pick of the second round. So I think altogether this offseason has been really, really good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Marcon just out there, he's got the dog in him. You can't deny it. The guy, he wants to win, and he's showing that he wants to build this team for the future. He wants to protect Kenny, got bigger up front, on both sides of the ball. And yeah, the big thing is with Joey Porter Jr., everyone knew that was going to be the first pick of the second round. Everybody, unless they traded out, that was rumored. But I think he fell, and the only reason he fell is because the interceptions were down. But then if you look at his numbers with passes, targets to completions or whatever, it was a phenomenal number in college. So lanky, very, he's quick. He's going to be your lockdown corner. So I'm excited.
As somebody who watched, a lot of Penn State games, the one knock I think I had on Porter even before, obviously the draft and everything, just before he declared whatever, was he was kind of grabby. He uses his hands a lot. So, that may be something where, you're going to have to tone that down a little bit in the NFL. But, he's a physical corner. He'll be right on the line, bumping off those Jamar Chases off the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a great fit. And honestly, the 7th round corner they got from Purdue, Corey Trice, he was a projected day 2 guy, but he fell because of his medicals, broken ankle in high school, knee injuries. That caused them to slip. But at the same time, if you're able to take him in the 7th round, where he's somebody that it may translate better to him being a kind of hybrid safety, can play on the outside, I'm totally fine with that. And then the pick that I really loved was Darnell Washington at 93. He was rumored to them at 32, and he fell. They were talking about, all right,
tight
it's
end?
his medicals again.
Was that the tight end?
Yeah,
correct.
He's like a tank, dude. You see this guy catch a ball, he runs people over. And I'm not going to take the words out of Andrew's mouth, but I don't know. I'm a little more of an expert on sports injuries, I'd say, and the movement of people. So I'll give you a little insight. So what he got done was basically his knee was inflamed just from usage, and he just got it cleaned up. It wasn't like a major surgery or anything like that, or it wasn't like invasive even at that. Like he was in, out, like done, like able to do like everything like right off the bat. Like they just cleaned it up a little.
So when you just real quick, when I hear of people getting their knees cleaned out, I think of like RG3, and that wasn't good for him. And then is it kind of like what TJ got done last year?
I think,
clean out,
but like to a lesser scale. It wasn't as major as that. So when TJ got it was because he was already hurt. So like they're like, might as well two birds, one stone it, you know, that kind of deal. But I don't think that's anything to be worried about. This guy's an absolute athlete, you know, like healthy guy. Like I don't think he's ever been. He had no injury history prior to that, from what I saw. So there's nothing to worry about. I think it's a steal like the draft. He'll complement, I think, Freiermuth pretty well. I don't know if Gentry, is he still around?
Either we signed him. Yeah.
So, but this guy, I think he'll be more of a blocking type, right?
So he was, you know, Georgia had two really good tight ends. Obviously, Brock Bowers was the main tight end at Georgia, and he kind of overshadowed, you know, Darnell Washington. He was more he got a lot of the opportunities to catch touchdowns. He was more of that kind of guy. But with his size and skill set, I think, you know, I think the Steelers can really work with him, and he's going to be a red zone threat. Don't get me wrong. You know, he's a massive guy. He's more of a blocker, but I think he'll evolve into that offensive role as well.
Real quick, do you see more heavy sets then out of the Steelers this year? Because you have Gentry. So let's say you have Gentry and what's his last name?
Freiermuth.
No, this Washington. In a heavy set, because you know Najee's big. Najee's just as big as the bus was. Najee came into camp last year heavier than Jerome Bettis did. So I'm not saying that Jerome was a little fatter, but
the thing is, Najee's big in pads, though. You know,
I understand that, but I want to see more heavy sets then, especially in the goal line and then on third downs as well. I don't want these jet sweeps. Do you think Canada is up for that? I know that's another can of worms that we could get into maybe later, but that was my question. Are we going to see more heavy sets? Because that's what I want to see.
I would say you look at all the positions they addressed on the offensive side of the ball this year. Isaac Sumalo, run blocker.
Yes.
Broderick Jones, drafting him, franchise left tackle, run blocker. He's not as good at pass coverage. He's only 21. And then you got all these guys like James Daniels, Mason Cole, you know, the line's looking great. And then you add in Darnell Washington, you bring back Zach Gentry. What are their two top qualities? Blocking.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson, for his, you know, he's an older receiver. You know, he works out of the slot. He's also a great blocker as well. So, you know, you got a lot of guys that can block, with Connor Hayward still in the mix that can go into that hybrid role. As you know, he played running back in Michigan. He can play that fullback tight end spot there. They got a lot of meat on that, you know, offensive line. They see him on Twitter calling it the picket fence. I mean, they're gonna be running the ball down teams' throats. I don't have any doubt about that.
And the thing that I like the most is these aren't your stereotypical like big meaty blockers that, you know, just get from point A to point B. A lot of these guys, like especially Broderick Jones, what is he, 350? 350. He's an absolute athlete. Like they're showing him highlight tapes of him like dunking. He could have been a Division I like basketball player in college. So these guys aren't just there for size and show. These guys can move upfield, get to the second level, you know, shed blocks, recognize like what's coming where, and just like switch on a dime. That's what a lot of you saw from Jones too in those little highlight reels. And
people forget that, you know, they signed Nate Herbig as well, whose nickname Nasty Nate, vicious blocker. Dan Moore probably was swinging at, you know, going to the swing tackle spot. And then the lineman they took out of Maryland, I'm blanking on his name right now, in the 7th round. He can play every position, and he is athletic. So you can see what they're doing.
Spencer Anderson.
Oh, yeah, Spencer Anderson, offensive line. Yep.
He can play every position on the offensive line. So it was a great weekend, I think, for the Steelers offense, with the exception of Kendrick Green, who hopefully sees the writing on the wall.
One would hope, right?
Tough scene.
Give him his tracksuit. I think that also helps too, getting all this depth up front, because when you think back to them years that offensive line was really good with the Pounceys and the Fosters and all those guys, DeCastro, Villanueva, they had some beef behind them too, you know, because Pouncey was always hurt, and they'd bring in, I can't think of his name, I don't know, but you always had those solid backups too. So if you can kind of mold these younger kids that might not start, like the Spencer Anderson, you're picking him, and he can play any of the positions, center, guard, or tackle, any of them. And if somebody goes down, hey, it might be a drop off, but it's not that much because this kid's going to be comparable. You know what I mean?
And usually, obviously, like a seventh round pick, seventh especially, it's tough for them to make the roster as a rookie. You see a majority of them probably end up on practice squads, but you're not a one trick pony here if you're Spencer Anderson. And obviously, we're giving a lot of airtime to a seventh round pick. But if that's where we're at, I love it. Talking about the Steelers, if you can play every position and you can give that versatility to the team, you're more than likely going to stick on that 53-man roster just because you can play any position on the offensive line. That makes you 5 times more valuable, really.
Yeah, kind of like what do they call it, utility man or whatnot. But the thing is, with a guy like him, what I saw was he started 12 out of 13 games. So what we're looking at is that level of experience that you get from him. So I think, is anything over 10 good for a lineman, like game experience for like a season? That's what they look for, I think. But so he'll be a nice experienced guy they'll put in there. Like Dan said, if someone goes down, they'll be able to plug and play with him wherever they want. So I'm not sure if maybe not center, but one of the guards or tackles. But
it happens though.
Jones, you'll know where he's going to play it. He can play either side of the line.
I don't want to see Chooks on that blind side anymore. I don't. He's not a franchise guy, so slide him back over to the right side.
Chooks has been on the right.
No, I thought Chooks was playing the left.
That's turnstile Dan Moore.
Oh. All right. Well, keep Chooks on the right side. I want this young kid here on the back side. And then you get a lot of trust in your offensive line, and they're young as well. And Kenny's young. I'm really excited about they take an outside linebacker at 49 or whatever.
Nick brother, yeah.
So that's just, is he going to play like the TJ Watt? Can he slide down?
See, the worry with him is his arms are shorter. He doesn't really have the body to play probably, an edge rusher in the NFL. That's the big knock on him. I think as Vince Williams on Twitter said, basically Bobby Spillane 2.0. But at the same time, you look at his production, look who he in college, I believe he had 11 sacks last year, has an insane motor. You're going to be learning from TJ Watt.
Yeah.
I think they're going to give him a chance to play outside. If he can, that's going to be great, but he might kick inside eventually with his frame and length. I think that might be where he ends up.
And that's what you kind of see whenever players progress from each level. When you see players from high school to college, they'll put a little more muscle and weight on and get a little bigger. So that's just from a college facility standpoint. So once these guys kind of get from college to NFL, they put on a little more mass. They get a little bigger. They have a way bigger budget than these colleges do. I mean, some of those upper programs do. Excuse me, like those, say, Ohio State, Alabama. Those guys they're almost NFL level, like probably sports nutrition, like weight management, strength training, that kind of stuff. But once they get to that level of, they don't even have to focus on class anymore, which who says they even do that to begin with in college? But, once football is their entire life, like day in and day out, they're just like off season, working out every single day, putting weight on. Like, you need to hit this weight, and you're just working out. And I think that'll be good for them. So we'll see him put on some decent size, I bet.
And to back up that point, look at TJ Watt when he was at Wisconsin. I know Wisconsin's in the Big Ten. They're a bigger program. He wasn't that big. Look at him now. He's jacked. So just to further back your point up, yeah. So,
and that's Wisconsin. So that good comp, same school. Yeah. So he could put on some extra size.
Yeah, them farm boys. But for us, I understand it's draft and a lot of people get up for it and it's exciting. But for us to be this excited about Steeler football coming up later this year in August, September, just from the draft, there was a buzz, and I saw a lot of the big national media heads saying that the Steelers might have had the best draft this year, and I'm not trying to have a homer opinion about it, but look at what they needed and look at what they got. And then
they did.
I think the best thing about the draft was moving up to 14 to get Jones and Bill Belichick screwing the Jets.
A little assist there from our boy up in New England.
And he still got who he wanted. He wanted Gonzalez. He wanted that cornerback from Oregon. So
yeah, it's not like the Jets are going to take him because they just took Sauce last year. Yeah. They're not going to take another, shutdown corner. But
no.
The next Steelers draft, future Steeler right there.
We'll get him on one these days.
But completely lost my train of thought there.
Sorry.
Just completely funny how basically Bill Belichick went out of his way to help the Steelers out just to screw over a divisional rival. But
I loved it.
So now Aaron Rodgers doesn't have as much protection as he might. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I like the draft. Even their undrafted guys. I'm a big fan. We need to start reaching out to some of these, undrafted guys, lower round guys. We need to get them on the pod. Let's get Tanner Morgan, quarterback, Minnesota, first guy the Steelers signed. We need to get the lay of the land here. You like Permanis, you drinking Turners. We need to, make sure they're acclimating to the Pittsburgh area well. I don't know if you saw the video. They had Broderick Jones down at the zoo. He's a big snake.
He's feeding giraffes, carrots.
He even said he's a big snake guy. He's got pet snake, and I can't remember what he named it, but that giraffe was all over him. Yeah, it was.
My favorite part of that picture was like basically year 2 in a row of like a funny Steeler draft picture. Remember when Pickens was standing in front of his TV, like just I think Broderick Jones, same thing. Do you see him just staring at the manatee, like same position, kind of? You know how the manatees like go in circles? He's just standing there like staring at it. So that's funny. But
I like how they roll out the red carpet for these new kids coming in, especially your first round, second round draft picks. You bring them in and you just show them what Pittsburgh's about. And you come through that tunnel and you see the skyline. Now, we knock him enough, but when Devin Bush did that and he put it up on his Twitter, it sends chills down your spine, because that's once you get the feeling of what Pittsburgh is about and you feel what the citizens and the fan base is about, and you just see that it's just iconic. You're like, this is hard nosed, this is gritty, this is where I want to play ball.
Yeah, there's no other entrance to like a city quite like that. Cleveland, not even close. We've seen that. It's literally a dumpster fire you drive through to get there. But another point I have is we do want to give Omar Khan his flowers, like great draft, everything like that. But this is the point I was going to make earlier. I completely forgot about. But you can lead the horses to the water, but you can't tell them to drink. I do think the offensive coordinator, like Dan said, what if he doesn't change his ways or doesn't use the tools he's given? As
you're no excuse for Matt Canada.
There's none.
Year.
That's the only word I have.
And here's my thing. I understand it might not fit his system, but you got to adapt your system for the personnel you have. You have hogs now, man. You got some beef. That's what I wanted. You got some nastiness up front. Pound the ball. It'll open up your passes. You know what I mean? Everyone was keying off on different things because you couldn't get the run going. None of these jet sweeps and stuff. Play man football, get into big sets, and just drive it down their throat. And then you have somebody blow the top off, and there you go. So yeah, there, like you said, Mott's, no excuse for Matt Canada this year. If they come out struggling the first 5 weeks, gone. See ya. I give him that short of a leash. I that might be too long. People are going to be witch hunting after him after their first loss when they put up 10 points, in week 2. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. Everyone's going to have the pitchforks and torches out. Hey, fire Matt Canada, and it's well deserved. Like, it's warranted. You know what I mean?
Because it's not like he got an upgrade all around. Like, the tools you had to begin with, the Pickens, Deontay, all those guys, they got an upgrade with Allen. Like, that's one of the better draft class. Like, not draft class. I mean, receiver rooms. That's a top receiver room around, I'd say, even with the new tight ends and everything like that. So there's no excuse with what weapons you have. Najee Harris is an absolute animal. Kenny Pickett, he's putting on a ton of mass. I think he's gonna be more of a mobile threat this year too. He's gonna be a little stronger. He's gonna be a downhill runner, I think, and he'll have more time in the pocket now that he's got some beef. So there's really no excuse to not produce more than he did last year. Is what I'm trying to say.
You know what I'm most excited to see, and Mott's, you might agree with me, a healthy Najee with a Jaylen Warren backing him up.
Oh, yeah.
Because how many games last year was Jaylen Warren just running like a madman, like a banshee out there? He's got the taste for it. He could be a number one on other teams. Look out.
We talked about that too. The emergence of Jaylen Warren last year, it let Najee, get a little bit of a break and kept him fresher. And that led to, a pretty nice 1-2 punch for that offense, from the backfield. 100% on, you're right on the money, Dan.
And I understand Mike Tomlin likes his bell cow and he wants to run Najee 500 times. But if Jaylen Warren's the hot hand, you feed that animal. You know what I mean? So I think that both of them are very capable at running the rock. They showed it last year. I just think it helps out Najee and it alleviates the pressure. I know he even says he wants to carry it 500 times. Don't let him do that. Let him carry 300 times. Give Jaylen Warren 150, 200 touches in the season, and they'll both be fresh. And watch what could happen. If the line stays healthy and they block the way that I assume they're going to.
So what would we say the Steelers' weakness is right now? It's obviously, I'd think, on the defensive side of things.
I'd say it's number one, depth on the edge behind Watt and Highsmith. A lot of uncertainty there. And then two, the cornerback rooms, the secondary in general, aside from Minka, has kind of been flipped. I don't say upside down, but you got Patrick Peterson, Joey Porter Jr., two new faces there, Keanu Neal at safety, KZ's back. You got some uncertainty in the secondary. I think that's where, Porter's either going to be thrown right in the fire, and rookies, starting in the league, it could be a rough stretch for him to start the season. But we're a day off the end of the draft, but right now I think slot corner is probably their biggest weakness.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It would be secondary. That's what I was going to say, and depth. But secondary wise, with Joey Porter Jr., I understand he's going to be a rookie, so I'll give him some leeway. But with your pedigree and where you were taken, you should be an impact player right off the bat. You're a second-round pick. Well, technically you're a first-round pick. You're a 32nd pick overall in the draft. The Dolphins want to go and screw around and have to forfeit their first two picks. So that's on them. So technically he is a first round pick. If you, in my eyes, they could say technically he's a second round. That's fine. But you're going to be plug and play and you're going to be thrown in the fire. But with your pedigree, I hope you produce. I'll give him all the time in the world, but we got to see some results. And I'm not saying he's got to go out there and have pick sixes and intercept everything. Just break him up. Don't let them throw it at you. You don't want them to. Yeah.
And as a guy that watched, I'd say, all of his games last year, I knew he was good. I knew he'd be drafted, but I didn't see him as a first round pick, essentially. I didn't see him as that. I don't know. Maybe I don't have an eye for talent in the secondary, but I didn't think he was that, did you, Andrew, think he was that good to be a first round pick, high second?
I thought he was. Obviously the big knock, okay, interceptions aren't there, but the length that he had and the physicality he has at corner, that's the kind of thing where teams look at it and they're like, oh boy, this can be, a Pro Bowler, because, and especially in today's day and age with the Jamar Chases, those downfield threats, you get a physical corner like that. And Joey Porter has Jr., you got the pedigree, you saw what he did at Penn State. The interceptions, like we said, weren't there, but the pass breakups were, he can come in and blitz. He's a good tackler. So that's very rare to have as a cornerback. And for them to get Corey Trice, who's basically the same mold as him, two sneaky good cornerback picks.
So one of the memories I have from last year, I forget what game it was, but they were attacking Joey Porter Jr. and he was, deflecting balls left and right. That's one of the memories I've had of him. But to kind of player comp, would it be kind of like he's a genetic freak and like he's tall for the position? Is that kind of what I'm understanding? He's like,
yeah,
playing the position in a different body type that he shouldn't probably be playing at. So kind of like O'Neal Cruz, you got 6'7" shortstop.
That guy should be out in center field. You're absolutely correct. You don't see very tall cornerbacks. They're shorter. They're always giving up 5 to 7 inches on outside receivers. So for somebody that can match up, across from Jamar Chase, and is he taller than Jamar Chase? Even if they're the same height, or if he's giving up an inch, it doesn't matter. That's not a mismatch then, because your teams are always looking for those mismatches, especially in the red zone. But you don't have it there on that outside, and as long as he can lock people down, Jamar Chase isn't going off for 300 yards and 4 tutties. It's not going to happen. So that's what I'm hoping for.
That's the thing. I think they're going to kind of go out of their way to attack him early. Like you said, that inexperienced rookie. So he'll have to prove himself pretty quickly, or at least hold his own pretty quickly. So we'll see that. But one thing I saw is Ryan Clark. We all know, former Steeler. So I don't know if he's a homer kind of guy, Steelers former player, but he said he thought Joey Porter Jr. would be good in the NFL, but thrown into the Steeler system, that's where he'd play his best.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you'd see the same thing, or what would the difference be? Like, how would he thrive in the Steelers system?
I think it's just, if you ask me, it's the culture there. It kind of, his dad's got ties to the team, he knows what's going on. Even Ryan Clark played in the secondary. He understands how, Coach T is going to coach those guys, because he's very hands-on with the defense. He's a big defensive guy. We've talked about it. It pisses me off, but so he knows what kind of schemes and what kind of what goes on there, and what the culture is in that secondary room, So I wouldn't say Ryan Clark, he seems like a straight shooter. I wouldn't say that he's just being a homer about it. So I would take his word over anybody's that wants to say that Joey Porter will succeed heavily here as a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah, he's a good scheme fit. I think that's what it comes down to. He's a great player, even better in the right scheme. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited for next season. Did they release the schedule yet?
Yeah, I think they,
but not the schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, weren't they a pretty low part of the pack of saying having an easier schedule this year? Last year they were pretty high up there. I remember they were like 1 or 2, like difficulty of schedule, right?
Your schedule this year, yeah.
So I'm pretty hopeful for this year. Those inexperienced guys, those year 1, year 2 guys, they'll have another, season under their belt. They'll be ready to step into their role. I kind of see last year as more of a bridge year, like what we're seeing with the Pirates this year, where, it's a bridge into the next year. And maybe we do have a little bit of that still this year. We got that veteran Patrick Peterson, a couple of guys like that. But, we're winning now. We got that. The defense is getting a little older, like we say week in and week out when we talk about the Steelers. But I think that's the mentality. It's win now. I'll put up or shut up for some of these old guys. This is the last chance. The window's open, but it's shutting a little bit.
I think even Omar Khan even said that they're kind of in win now mode in his press conference. So yeah, why not win now? With Cam Hayward getting old. I know TJ's still younger, but he's getting old. You got guys on that defensive side that are getting old. So if not this year, definitely next year they'll make a hell of a run. I have a feeling.
Yeah, I think we're gearing up for a big push here pretty soon. It's going to be tough, We got the Ravens, we got the Bengals. I'm not worried about the Browns, whatever.
I'm not worried about the Ravens either. You want to ship money to a guy that can't beat teams in his own division? Bring it on. I'm not scared of Baltimore.
Is that true that AB signed with them too? Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way he's dancing around in Baltimore right now. But whatever. Excited for this year. Steeler football, let's go. How many more months? Let's see, May, June, July. About 4 months. 4 months, right? August, September, 5 months.
August when they go to St. Vincent.
So 4 months will be in full swings. We'll be at the 1 year mark. That's when we started talking about them last year. So 4 months. We'll have some preseason going about, but yeah, I'm excited. They had a good free agency. It kind of took a lot of pressure off of the draft, I think. That's what led to, having, I think, in my eyes, such a good draft. And hopefully a lot of those picks do pan out, because they're not the good looking picks, but they're They're the picks it's the glue picks that hold everything together.
It's the ones you need. It's not the ones you want. It's the ones you need.
The ones we didn't have last year. It's the ones we didn't have, and that's where a lot of the problems came from.
Yep.
So what do we want to talk next? Bucko baseball?
The Buccos are rolling right now. I'm just still zeroed in on the Steelers right now. It ain't even funny.
Team, a new pirate generation. Everybody shout, let's go,
So Dan just plugged the sound in for all you viewers at home. The classic Bucko rally song. I don't know what you call it.
Them Buccos.
Yeah, the Badland Buccos. A great week. Just overall great week. I think 2 losses in there, right? 1 to the Dodgers, which, whatever. They could have won that one. Should
have won that one.
And then today, the Nationals. But, you'll win some, you lose some. I'd say any week with 2 losses for the Pirates this year is, that's a great week, unless they play 2 games. Then that's not good. But I'd say overall, great week. If you're a Pirates fan, yesterday is probably the best day. 2 absolute blowouts against the Nationals. But
the first game wasn't a blowout. 6-3 is not a blowout because you still get a save in there. It's Bednor.
Second game.
Second game was
it felt like there's been a lot more blowouts than not this year, which is kind of crazy. So we're on the receiving end last year, but the pitching's coming together still. So Oviedo not as good today.
No.
Our so-called ace last week.
He didn't throw a fastball there for like 3 innings. That's just
That's what got him in trouble. That's what got him in trouble. He threw that hanging curve right over the plate.
Yeah.
Shout out Drew Maggie.
Yeah,
Drew Maggie, great story. I was ready that first at bat he had. I was waiting all week for him to play. I think it was the 3rd game he was up. He finally got in. First pitch, I thought that thing was gone as soon as it came off the bat. And foul, left field foul, or third baseline foul. And then he almost went yard the next day because he started that Friday too, right? He started on Friday at third base, which, that's a game you need to kind of win. I think that was against the Dodgers still, right? Friday against the Dodgers. They played in the afternoon.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Are you sure? They didn't play Friday, did they?
No, they got rained out Friday. That's why the doubleheader was Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thursday. So Thursday afternoon is like a 12-something game, 12:30.
Yeah.
But he almost went yard there, center field deep. But he eventually yesterday got his first hit, which ended up being an RBI, which is cool. And then he waved and went, waved and left. He's already back in, I think, Altoona. Yeah. So good for him. He gets his moment. 13-year veteran in the minors, which that's honestly crazy. 13 years in the minor leagues. That's dedication right there. That's following a dream. So I respect it. He'll always have that memory. He'll always say, hey, I'm a major leaguer. So I think all time couldn't even fit in the bottom basin of a MLB stadium, right? Is that how it goes? There's something like that. It's such a small, population of major league baseball players.
I got you. Yeah. Yeah,
they couldn't fill the bottom part of a stadium or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but good for him. It was a great story, and I'm loving all the coverage that the Pirates are getting recently. Like ESPN's on them, Sports Center's on them. Like a lot of big baseball accounts. It's all Pirates. Like it really feels like we're America's team. Like I think the Pirates are America's team this year, and I'm calling it.
Yeah,
that's a bold prediction.
What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm just loving. They're rolling right now. I'm loving it. I'm sitting back. I'm not looking too much into it. I'm just enjoying the ride right now. That's all.
I can't say it enough. They're playing complete baseball. They're playing the small ball. You saw it yesterday in the first game against the Nats. Pitching is way better than I anticipated. All right.
Oh yeah, I got Bucko fever.
But yeah, you just see they're playing complete ball. They were on that 7-game win streak and then ended up dropping that first one to the Dodgers. They should have won. That was it's tough, but you're gonna from this team. I'll take it. I don't care. I'm excited about it. It's not just something background noise I have on at work anymore. I actually listen to it and I get invested. There's nothing like a Greg Brown call about it was actually that game they lost. Somebody hit a dinger. He was going nuts about Sawinski robbed that homer. He was going nuts about it. That was a hell of a catch. They need to cut down on the errors. What was it? The second or third game against the Dodgers, they had 3 or 4 errors in that game. They still won, but still.
The game, they could have been out of the inning, and Castro whipped it over Santana's head.
So
that's where we're missing O'Neal Cruz. Is Castro's at short, and he's causing decent bit of errors.
You know, you have your everyday shortstop there. It doesn't happen, but no, it's exciting. It's an exciting time, and like even Greg Brown says, he said it yesterday when I was watching the first game of the doubleheader. There's a buzz around this team. There's a buzz around town. You heard the "Let's Go Bucks" chants in Washington. Bednar went out there and closed the first game. They were there. You heard cheers. There's something about. He said it's not even like 11 and 12 when they were on that tear and then tanked off after the All-Star break. He said there wasn't even this kind of buzz 13, 14, 15 when they went to the postseason. He said it's a different buzz, and he's loving it right now. And I couldn't agree more. I think that this team, are they putting the cart before the horse? Possibly. But why not enjoy it now? The big test is this week coming up. They got the Rays. They got 3 games against the Rays, and that's a scary team right now.
And the thing is, I think I'm not putting the carriage before the horse. Is that what you said?
Horse before the carriage, or whichever way it is.
I'm not gonna do that. I don't have any expectations for this season. I told you I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying Bucko baseball. I'm enjoying meaningful baseball for once in my young life, which I've had a couple years of it, but I fully understand it now. I fully understand what meaningful baseball is, but it's part ways what I think is the rule changes are really coming into play in the favor of how the team's built. Like we do have these quick guys that are stealing bases. They're taking advantage of, the pitch clock. They're taking advantage of the bigger bases. They're taking advantage of the pitcher being scared to try to pick them off after they waste their first one, because you got to get them after that. But we do have these quick guys, especially G1 Bay and guys like that, which I think I saw today that the Pirates had the second most stolen bases in all of MLB since I think it was 2001 or something like that, when the Marlins won the World Series. So that's the only team that was better than them in like the past 20 something years. That's what I heard on the radio today, Greg Brown talking about. But it's an exciting team to watch. They get guys on base. And I think that's like how they've been. That's the bread and butter. They're getting the guys on base. It's not always like just smacking the ball. They're laying down bunts. They're laying down good bunts. It's that run and gun, or what they call it, thunder and lumber and lightning or something.
Lumber and lightning.
That's what they're going after. But I do want to give kudos to one player that I thought would be serviceable, but I didn't think he'd be playing at this level. I don't think Carlos Santana's getting enough respect on his name. He's playing the position very well. I think at the beginning of the year, we really thought him and G-Man Choi would be splitting games. I know G-Man Choi's hurt, but I don't think we should ever see him again by the way that Santana's playing. Santana at first, he's making some great plays. He's making some highlight reel, like pick off first base catches. That's all I'm saying. He's got a good bat, and I think I'm gonna put some respect on his name. 38 years old.
37, yeah.
And he's doing his part. I'm just Carlos Santana enjoyer. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm enjoying him.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Buccos?
No, I just think that it's an exciting time, and you see this team, especially with the Drew Maggie thing. You look back, and all those guys could have been like, "Oh, okay." No, they know it's a brotherhood. This team feels like a family. It's strange. It's not just like a couple dominant guys that know that they're not going to be here after the trade deadline or before the trade deadline's up. They feel like a team. So I don't know if that's the different buzz I'm feeling from the Buccos right now or what it is, but I'm enjoying it. And like I said before, I'm done being down on them because I want to enjoy it now. Because when I was just a few years ago when they were making their playoff runs in the postseason, I was like, okay, but they're going to suck in a year. I didn't have the same mentality about the Pens because I still enjoyed this season. I'm not going to lie. Did I have a lot of disappointments and a lot of did I get a lot of gray hairs because of it? Yeah. but I still enjoyed it. So anytime I can watch somebody play some sports and it's just entertainment, that's what I'm going to do from now on. So go Bucks.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you hit the nail right on the head. They are a family. You saw when Reynolds signed his big deal. Like all the Buccos were all around, just watching. They didn't even expect to be on camera. They didn't care if their picture was taken. They didn't care about being recognized. They were just there for their teammate. And it really translates to the dugout. You see the celebration, which it's pretty electric. They got the sword going.
Yeah.
I love the evolution of it. They're just air swording. Then they got, the plastic sword. Then they got like the suit jacket now. I just think it's going to evolve like into some crazy shit by the end of the year where they're just going to be like popping off fireworks and, like clouds of smoke, fog machine, just be a party down there. Disco ball. I don't know.
Here's the only thing I'm going to say about that. It's okay when you're winning. So I'm okay with that. You want to start doing that shit and they were dog shit. I don't know if there's a place in sports for that. I think that's the only reason they're doing it. You think Shelton,
No, yeah. Mid-July, they're like 30 and 60 or something. He'd be like,
put that damn sword away.
It's time to put the jacket in the closet for a little while. We'll bring it on next year.
I think maybe that has something to do with the buzz because they are winning, so they can put on these, I wouldn't say theatrics, but this extra stuff that you get to see from the Buccos that we haven't seen in years. Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
They're giving box a show right now. Dinner and a show. That's what they're giving you.
And that's what it builds on. Like these players, it gets them pumped up, and that's what keeps streaks like that going and becomes like a superstition or something like that. So just keeps building on. They're giving them the player of the game like a Pikachu with a Pirates shirt on after the game, which electric. But I don't know. I just love the vibe around baseball this year, and it's good not to be an Oakland Athletics fan. So happy I'm not that.
That's fair. And yeah, that's Buccos. Go Bucks.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought we're sitting here talking about Bucs?
We'd be in the dog days of summer, and it's not even summer yet. Here, what is it, April 30th at 8:05? What are we going to talk about?
We've had a month of great baseball. I
just hope that they can. I'm not expecting them to, keep climbing. But if they stay status quo like they are, hey, they'll be in the postseason. I'm not saying that they're going to. Because things happen. Look at 11 and 12.
They got 500. Hey, that's a win for me.
That's a win because we all took them under. What was it? 69 and a half wins.
Took over. Let that record shoot.
I need my exact number. Didn't I say 90? Did I say 90? Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
I said some crazy. I was talking crazy.
I might have said 69.
Are we like the biggest Bucco fans around then? We supported them. We had the outlook this year. We might be the biggest Bucco fans around.
I'm not saying I can't take full credit because I would call myself a bandwagon if I was in you guys' shoes. But yeah.
See, I always watch them.
I hopped on a while ago.
But this was the year we sent something different. So, everyone pat yourselves on the back.
I'd say I'm the biggest Bucco enjoyer around. I'm the biggest enjoyer around these parts. No one enjoys them more than me. They might be a bigger fan, but no one enjoys them like I do.
Brian does have a new favorite term for ballpark foods now.
I've been down stadium steaks. Stadium steak,
like a hot dog.
Yeah, stadium steak.
I love it.
I heard someone say that the other day.
He fell in love with the term.
Oh, I picked up on it. We're at a baseball game up at the field, and this guy, he got a hot dog at the little concession stand, and he walked by like this other guy, and this other guy looked at him. He's like, "Oh, a little stadium steak action." So I've just been saying.
I like calling them pork missiles. I don't know why. Just pork
I just
missiles.
thought stadium steak was hilarious. I never heard that before. So
we got to get down a couple games. I know I'm taking
this Saturday maybe because they play at home. It's like 6:00. But I don't know if the weather will be all right.
I said they play the Diamondbacks, weekend in March. We can go down on a Saturday.
Speaking about the D-backs, did you see they DFA'd Bumgarner?
Yeah.
So, but damn. I'm taking the boys down. One of them Sunday games. If you guys want to tag along for that one too.
Can I watch them run the bases? Are you gonna let them run the bases after?
Are you kidding me? You got to line up by the second inning. Did I not
Really?
tell you? Did I not tell you about that last year?
No.
We take them down to a game, right? It was all kids 12 and under got an ice cream bowl, a really nice bowl too. So Owen wants to run.
Ice cream?
Huh?
Was it filled with ice
No,
cream?
no,
or did you have to
it's ceramic. So you just bring it home. So
and then you put ice cream in it.
yeah, when you get home. So
That's kind of cheap. I would have had the ice cream in there when I got it.
Owen wants to run the bases. So we're like, okay. So we meander over. I actually see Caleb Berendi there, and we sat with him because we were out in the bleachers, and it was 12 o'clock. Sun's beating down middle of July. He was down under first base, so we went over there, and that's where you line up. The right field foul pole is where they line up to go run the bases. So I asked the one lady after the game, it just ended. Hey, where do I take my son to run the bases? She's like, oh, you go down these stairs, hang a left, and you'll see the line. Okay, go down there, and we start walking from the right foul pole to the exit on the left field foul pole was the line. I looked at him, I'm like, bud, it's going to be 30 seconds of fun. I understand that, but we're going to stand here for an hour and a half. I'm like, I'm sorry. So we left. So, but you can get him to be a member of the Buckaroos fan club thing, and he gets one free skip the line. So we're going to do that for him.
You're going to make him an honorary buckaroo.
No, I'll pay for it. It's like $5 for the year, and they get little like dollar hot dog when you go and this and that. So we'll do that. But it's pierogi
Buck for a stadium steak.
Yeah.
Can you do this? Bring him a change of clothes and tell him to slide into every base.
I don't think they let the kids slide.
Slide in.
He'll end up getting yelled at.
Tell him to go feet upright into the bases. No one's gonna be stopping him there.
It's it. You gotta tell him he's a kid. He can do whatever he wants on that field because there's no repercussions. Tell him run around the whole outfield, entire grass everywhere.
I'm pretty sure they might spear him then because they rope it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they rope off like the infield grass and coming up the line like into the outfield grass. So like you got to run in between these ropes on the base paths.
So if you're young enough, they'll be like, "Oh, it's just a kid. He doesn't understand ropes yet," or
Spear
something.
him.
You know, like headshot. Broderick Jones is just right there.
So yeah, if you guys want to go down with us on that Sunday, and then we'll find a couple more.
Yeah, I gotta get to a couple. There's a nice ballpark pass deal. You can get like $30 and go to any game you want each month. So you pay like $30 every month. You got like a pass on your phone. It's standing room only, but you can find like seats or there's seats in center field. Yeah, any game. So you can just pop in like at the 6th inning on a Tuesday or something if you want.
Really?
I think so. That's how it works. There's a little pass.
Yeah.
Which that's worth it. I think that'll go away, next year when they're probably a little better. But last year, like $25 a month, I think they did it last year. June, July, August, September, or June, July, August. Don't think September was long enough. And then they're doing it again this year. I think $30 a month. So I might check that out and just if I'm around, just sneak in the ballpark. Get a quick stadium steak and watch a couple innings. Maybe get some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Watch the Rogie race. Yeah. Better Call Saul. Better Call Sauerkraut Saul.
Hey, that's my boy.
I know I might have to switch up. I've always been Cheese Chester, but I heard Greg Brown, or who said it? They're like, Better Call Sauerkraut Saul after that Sawinski home run.
That's my dude.
And I might become a Saul fan because every game I've went to, Chester has lost every game the past like 4 years. I swear. Like when I was growing up, Chester won every time I went. He was the what would I say? The New England Patriots of the pierogi race. He had like 7 rings, I think. He won but like it's all jalapeno Hannah and sauerkraut Saul these days. Like Oliver Onion's taken a step back or two, I think, as well. I haven't seen him win one in a while. Oliver Onion, I don't know. He might be getting up there. Hot seat, Oliver Onion. So that's the Rogie race minute right there. So say what you want. But and rant. What's next, guys? I know we're closing in on an hour here.
Yep, almost an hour in.
Yeah, I'm fine with wrapping it up right here. We talked a lot about the Steelers and Buccos. I got no Jags of the week, so
I too. I got 2 Jags. I got like a Jag like heavy and a Jag light. So like you got a regular Jag and then a Jag light, like kind of like Miller and then Miller light.
Lay it on us.
So yesterday, Walnut Grill, I was in the bathroom and the sink, it's built for 2 but made for 1, if that makes sense. So there's 2 sinks, but if you're a normal size human, only 1 person can fit there at a time. So I noticed like this guy finishing up while I'm washing my hands. And I'm like, this buddy, you better read the room here. You're not fitting in this like little area. So I started crowding I was crowding the plate, like, like how you like shoulder, like brought him up a little bit, release the traps. This guy squeezes in right by me. Like he had like, honestly, this much room for his like this much body. So he squeezes in, and this is like the funny part. Like the soap dispenser was above you, and it was one of those like activated ones. His shoulder went under it, like squirted on his shoulder. I was cracking up. So yeah, you're a Jag. You see a sink that's made for 2 but built for 1. Like know your role. Like don't try to get it. It makes more sense when you think about it. Like made for 2, built for 1. No, built for 2, made for 1.
Yeah.
Like you're
so
2 people aren't.
So it's a double sink, but it's only in this big of a spot. So you barely fit in there. You ain't getting somebody else in there. Yeah, because even for you to like try to squeeze over, still probably wasn't enough for him. So he probably come in all peacocking,
So like I forgot to turn the sink off whenever I was like leaving, and then because it was like such a tight space, I just wanted to get out of the guy's way. He just got squirted on the shoulder, like I had to get out of his way. So like I turned around, I noticed I forgot. I was like, oh, I forgot to turn the sink off. He's like, yep, you kids are all used to the automatic ones these days, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, I guess. And then I left, never saw the guy again. But that's my Jag heavy. And then Jag lights, this lady in Giant Eagle today. I was getting my produce. I've been getting a lot more produce lately. I don't know, just switching it up. I got some apples, some bananas, and I've been I put a couple avocados in the buggy today. So, and I'm coming through normal. So I'm book reader style, Giant Eagle left to right. This lady's like, I'm rounding the bend to the peanut butter area. You're rounding the bend past the bag lettuce and whatever. And she's coming my way. And she like sees me and does like this little thing and twists around and starts coming back. But the avocado's on the other side. So I'm hanging a left. And so like I'm going left and she zigs again and I'm zagging. So I go around the corner. And then her husband's behind her and she goes, and he kind of says, I don't know what he said. He's just muttering. He was like crotchety guy. Like he wasn't happy to be there. And he goes like, rrr. So I assume he said like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I'm getting out of this way because I don't want to cut him off. And she's like low key, like saying it loud so like I can hear. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not getting in it. And like, you're a Jag because you're going the wrong way in the store. You're going right to left. Like any normal person goes left to right in the store. And you're an idiot. So like, don't low key be like passive aggressive at me and Giant Eagle when I'm zigging when you should have zagged. So like, don't even pull that.
Maybe they're from England.
No, I mean, she had bad teeth, so possibly.
Well, at least
it was like a Tuesday for her. So yeah, Jag for that. I should have said something like, I don't know. I had no comments at that time. I was on wit's end. So it was the first time I was like moving place to place. I was frazzled, so I had to get in and get out, and I wasn't turning around to get in an altercation today. But yeah, that's it. Right. I'm sure you guys love hearing me talk. Andrew looks so excited right now. He's been checked out probably since Steelers. So
I was there for the Pirates.
I listened to you, Brian. I got you. I'm invested.
Listen, you set the standard too high for the Jags of the week. Usually you're coming in with 10 out of 10. Sometimes the Jags just not.
My first one was pretty good. The soap on the guy's shoulder, that one was funny. You can't force them, like I get gold every now and then, but I get bronzes, I get silvers.
It happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out of my way to get something crazy this week. Mark my words. I'm getting something insane this week. I'm going to like speak it into existence. I'm going to like plant the seeds. I'm going to do something like insane where I can set someone up to like be a Jag for like someone I don't know, like a pedestrian or something. I don't know. banana peel on the sidewalk, something crazy. But yeah, I gotta up it. This week was a little weak, so I'm gonna get her going this week. But yeah, that's about it. So episode 41. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to me talk for the past 15 minutes. But yep, good stuff. Like, follow.